Bro, I'm going out today.
All right, let's get started. I'm about to start the notes. We're going to get started on day 34, adding and subtracting rational expressions. And there's a list of steps. So there's a lot of things that go on when we work these problems. And so we have a list of steps. It is in your best interest to have your notes and your homework together as you're working through. So that way, if you're like, I don't know what to do next, well, you've got a list of steps. So the first step is to factor the denominator. The denominator is the bottom. And you need to find the LCD. The LCD stands for lowest common denominator. And you guys learned how to do that when you first learned how to add and subtract fractions. Those same skills are going to apply today when we add and subtract fractions. Next, step 2 says state the values that make the expression undefined. When the expression is undefined, this is what we did last class. These are called domain restrictions. And we have domain restrictions because you can't divide by something. Who remembers what you cannot divide by? We learned it last class. Well, you should have already known it just from being a math, but we cannot divide by 0. Very good. We cannot divide by 0. That's why we have to check for domain restrictions. Step number 3, we will multiply the numerator and denominator by any missing lowest common denominator factors. And denominators must be the same. You already know this. When denominators have to be the same, the numerators don't matter. The denominator has to be the same, and you already know that. That is just getting a common denominator. Okay? The denominators have to be the same, and when you put them up together, they stay the same. The only thing you add or subtract is the numerator. And last, you will factor the numerator if possible. So let's go ahead and write that down. If possible. Sometimes things don't need to be factored or they can't factor. And so you like, if you can factor, factor. If you can't, you can't. And then last, we will divide out any common factors. And so remember, when we divide out, we're canceling them. Any common factors divided become 1. So we cancel them out. All righty. Let's do some problems. The first problem is a review back from when we used to do adding and subtracting fractions. This is a review of how to add or subtract fractions. So we're going to use our same first step. We have to make sure it's factored. I mean, this is factored. Next, we have to identify the lowest common denominator. So if I have a denominator of 3 and 2, what would the lowest common denominator be? Can I turn 3 into 2?
The lowest would be 6.
6. 6 is going to be my common denominator. The lowest common denominator is going to be 6. So I'm going to jot that down off to the side. The lowest common denominator is going to be 6. Well, what do I have to multiply 3 by to make 6?
2.
2. So on the side, I'm going to multiply this by 2 and this by 2. What do I have to multiply 2 by to make it 6? 3. So on the side, I'm going to multiply this by 3 and this by 3, and I'm going to rewrite everything. So my lowest common denominator is going to be my denominator. So I already know that my denominator is going to be 6. My numerator, though, it's going to be 2 times 2, which is 4, minus 1 times 3, which is 3. What's 4 minus 3? 1. So my answer is 1/6. Are there any x's in the denominator? No, if there's no x or no variable in the denominator, I don't have any restricted values. So my answer is just 1/6. Next problem. So the next problem, and it might take you watching a couple examples for you to recognize how I'm finding the lowest common denominator, but the lowest common denominator for this next problem, I have one denominator that is a 3 and one that is a 3 times x plus 2. So the lowest common denominator is going to be 3 times x plus 2. So this one already has the lowest common denominator, or the common denominator, but this one's missing something. What is this one missing? Yep, so I'm going to multiply only that by x plus 2 over x plus 2. The numerator and denominator, I've got to multiply the top and the bottom by x plus 2. And when I rewrite it, once you identify the lowest common denominator, that is your new denominator. 3 times x plus 2. And then my numerators. When I rewrite this, I'm going to also distribute. So I have to distribute this in to both pieces as I rewrite it. So I get 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 2 is 4. Plus 12. Well, I can add these together. What is 4 and 12? 16. So I get 2x plus 16 all over 3 times x plus 2. Last, before you box your answer, you want to double check to see, can the numerator be factored? So could I factor anything out of the numerator? What? 2. I can factor out a 2. If I factor out a 2 in the numerator, I'm left with x plus 16 divided by 2 is 8. Are there any common factors in the numerator and denominator that can cancel out? It has to be the whole factor, has to be identical. So that is my answer. And I also have to jot down any restricted values. So for this problem, x cannot be equal to -2. Do not forget that you have to write down any restricted values along with your answer. And the only reason we didn't here is because there wasn't an x in the denominator. Yes.
So you only have restricted value x in it, and then is it only -2 because you're flipping it, or could you do like -a?
It's only restricted values come from the denominator because we can't divide by 0. Okay, let's do some more. So the next problem, we're going to add or subtract and identify any restricted values. And so as I go to add or subtract, I have to first factor. I have to first factor anything in the numerator and denominator. So for C, everything looks good except for I need to factor this. And this is a difference of perfect squares. So this turns into x plus what? X minus what? What does this turn into? X plus 2, X minus 2. All right, now I have to identify my lowest common denominator. Well, this one has an X plus 2, and so does this one. They have that in common. But what they don't have in common is the X plus 2. So we need to get that over here. So our lowest common denominator is going to be X plus 2, X minus 2. And so this one already has everything, but here we're missing X plus 2. So I'm going to multiply that. X plus 2 over X plus 2. When I rewrite this problem, I have to make sure that I distribute in the 2. And then I will rewrite it. So I have my new denominator is going to be X plus 2 and X minus 2. And I have 3X plus 2 times X is 2X. 2 times 2 is 4. I can put this together. 3 and 2 make 5X plus 4 all over X plus 2, X minus 2. Can you factor anything out with 5 and 4?
No.
Nah. So that is my answer, but I still have to state any restricted values. So X can't be equal to what and what?
And
Very good. And remember that the order of your restricted values doesn't matter. My next problem, before I can subtract this one, so this is a little different. Before I can subtract this one, I have to factor this. And actually, what do you see? What do you notice about example C and D?
yeah,
Except for?
oh, the sign in the middle.
Yeah, so we can use the same idea. I mean, this has got a factor. And so we know that that's going to turn into X plus 2, X minus 2, 3X minus 2, X minus 2. And we already know, because we already did the problem on the left, we already know that the lowest common denominator is going to be X plus 2 and X minus 2. This one already has a minus 2, so I have to multiply the numerator and denominator by X plus 2. So when I rewrite this problem, my new denominator, when the denominators are the same, so now they're the same, my new denominator will stay the same. X plus 2, X minus 2. But when I rewrite it, I have to make sure to distribute in to both pieces, but I have to be careful. Because this is a minus. So I'm distributing in -2, not just a 2. So I still have 3X right here. But I have -2 times X, so minus 2X, and -2 times 2 gives me -4. Now when I simplify, I have 3 minus 2 or just X minus 4. Anything match on the top and the bottom that I can cancel out? Nope, it has to be, everything in parentheses has to be identical. Are there any matching factors in the numerator and denominator? Tariq says no, he's right. There's nothing that's the same. So we're done. But we still have to identify what X is not equal to. X is not equal to what, or X cannot be what two values. Yeah, -2, +2, doesn't really matter the order. Okay, I'm going to give you a 10-minute break. And then we're gonna come back together. So see how far you can get in 10 minutes.
It's better than belly. It's better than he's better than Mondo. He's better, he's not better than. And also like 72.
I don't care if I get into my locker. If I'm getting my locker, I have to use it anything like that. They're actually have a choice. Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
It is a stuff kind of fancy. You gotta get pictures. Can I go get water?
In 5 minutes.
No, it's not. This is.
So you go like this.
I like this.
Air, that's why. Yeah. You're not drinking. You're doing it today. Oh, thanks. You know what's fun? And it takes something. No, wait. It says higher than 9. On the floor. Check out the fire. Using all the things up there. Oh, unbound, that's me. 106, 183. Nothing.
Okay. I'm gonna let's go. What's his name?
You're all. We all that. Yes. I got to get. But why are you like all so dangerous? Yeah. I'm like straight. Take that.
Yeah, like, yeah, oh, yeah.
They do, it's like, where's that? They just take orders. Marco, okay, hey, you've done it so good. Yeah, this is it.
Sona's so good, yeah.
Oh, I just got it. Face to face, you holding a little iPads, talking to his. And then there's Expo, Expo outside, and you have this. People. And there's Stager is your admin. And you're managing everyone. Bag is free kicking. Bag is free bag all the. It's like really good. So like 5 minutes. Then there's drinks in the front end. He's shooting me, and then like okay, $12. But that's what this year. And then you all have like multiple groups. Got it. That means 30. That was which really surprised me. Yes. Yeah.
And he showed me, and there's someone looking on the FaceTime, and I go. I don't know, but I always. Most of them.
I like it. We got the story like, yeah. Yes, yes, some. Because they information. No, I can run you. You follow through and then you have like, bro, what is happening?
Yeah.
Sort of thought.
Gone. Huh? Gone. I'm gonna change that banner. Gone. They gone. You just stop it and just go up there. I'm going on top. Oh, there we go. Well, that season.
That's the part we have to learn.
It's like everything value the dollar.
Bro,
You got it, same, but like you're not actually. That's true. That's true.
how is that clean? Too many ones, you can- No, you don't.
So then it should.
You're gonna get. After you find something. Well, I'm not getting a book is even. We are down the app. Nothing wrong. I did some of last time, I just put it in the reader. Yeah, I'm just looking for you, but I couldn't even bring it to us. I didn't know you. It didn't give you much. It didn't even hear. Oh, it's not even one. Okay, so I don't want to hear something. You just say something.
But like other business, like, and then on the golf, maybe, no, but I'm not. I'm like, I am. Like, I mean, like, we started back. Like, something else. So I'll get
It doesn't.
Get three.
So read the.
All right. Because as I look out, there's really nobody working on their homework. So we're going to continue. Next problem. I have to first factor and rewrite. So this is not factored. So I have to rewrite everything and factor that denominator. Minus 1. 2x minus 1 over. To factor this denominator, I have to think of what two things can multiply to give me 2 that can add or subtract to make 3. 2 and 1 will work. So if I put 2 and 1 in the parentheses, the middle term is negative, so the bigger number has to be negative. So 2 has to be negative. And if I have negative 2, I would have to add 1 to make, subtract 1 to make negative 3. And I double check negative times a negative is going to multiply to give me a positive. So I'm good. I'm factored. So as I look through for my lowest common denominator, so this one has x minus 1 and x minus 2, but this one only has an x minus 1. So this one is missing the x minus 2. So my lowest common denominator, x minus 1, x minus 2. This class might have to have a seating chart like my 8th period if y'all can't be quiet while I am talking. Just a little hint. So this one is missing the x minus 2. I have to multiply the numerator and denominator by x minus 2, x minus 2. And so I'm going to rewrite this and I'm going to make sure that I distribute in the x to both pieces as I rewrite. Also, now that I have the denominators are the same, when I combine them, it stays the same. So the denominator does not change. X minus 1, x minus 2. And in the numerator, I'm going to multiply. X times x is x squared. X times negative 2 is negative 2x. And then I have plus 2x minus 1. So plus 2x minus 1. So now I can combine like terms. So taking a look, I've got x squared, then I have minus 2x plus 2x, and then minus 1. Yeah, those cancel out. Minus 2 plus 2, it cancels out. So I can rewrite this. So I end up with x squared minus 1 over x minus 1 and x minus 2. We have to double check to see, can the numerator be factored? Is x squared minus 1, can we factor that? It's a difference of perfect squares. It turns out to x plus 1, x minus 1. And now we do one more scan to see, is there any factors that repeat in the numerator and denominator that I can cancel? Yep. So that cancels out, but I can also jot down my restricted values, and it doesn't matter if it cancels out, I still have to account for it. So x cannot be equal to positive 1,
Wait,
or positive 2.
if it cancels out, you still have to count for it?
Yeah, just like last class. You still have to count for it. And I can rewrite and I'm done.
If it's just x squared, what is that? Is that just like x times x?
What?
Like if it was just x squared alone, what would that be?
Here? Oh, x squared alone in the denominator, x can't be 0. Anytime you have an x by itself without like in parentheses, it's just, it could be an x, a y, a z to any exponent, can't be 0. And we did that last class. We have one more problem that we're going to do together. What is the only difference between this problem and this problem? The sign. So we should know that we already know we've got to factor this. So I can go ahead and do that. And I already know what my lowest common denominator is going to be because I already did the problem on the left. That's still the same. So I know that this fraction has to be multiplied by x minus 2 and x minus 2. And so when I rewrite it, I know that my denominator is going to stay x minus 1 and x minus 2. I mean, really, when you rewrite it, you can identify your restricted values. I know. I know that x cannot be equal to positive 1 or positive 2. As soon as you rewrite the problem and you have the same denominator, you can identify restricted values. In my numerator, I'm going to have to distribute the x, and I'm going to have to distribute the negative to both pieces as well. Anytime you subtract, you have to remember to subtract everything in the numerator. So I get x times x is x squared. X times negative 2 is negative 2x. And this is negative times 2x, so minus 2x. And then negative times negative 1, which would make plus 1. So this one's a little different. So these don't cancel anymore. They subtract. So I get negative 4 right there. So x squared minus 4x plus 1 all over x minus 1 and x minus 2. So looking at this denominator, is there anything that could multiply to give you 1 that could add or subtract to make 4? No, nothing's going to multiply to give you 1, but add or subtract to make 4. So this numerator doesn't factor. You just leave it. So we're just going to leave it.
Because he has to do one thing.
Yeah. So we are done. And at this point, you've got some options on what you should work with, but you only have 8 problems. I highly encourage you to get those done today in class when I can help you.